Welcome to Trending Unpacked, where we decode the stories behind what's trending. Today, we're diving into the buzz around Netflix's latest breakout series, Untamed. You've probably seen it everywhere, right? All the posts, the chatter online. This show seems to have, well, exploded globally. So Untamed is our deep dive today. It really feels like a cultural phenomenon, and based on the sources you've shared, it's grabbed attention super quickly. But the big question, the thing we want to unpack today using your material is, what was it? What took Untamed from just, another new show to something that properly broke through and started trending everywhere? What's the magic recipe here?
That's exactly the right question. Because, yeah, Untamed isn't just a hit. It's almost like a perfect case study in how things catch fire now. So, for a quick overview, it's a Netflix drama. It blends psychological thriller stuff with survival mystery and then layers in some really complex character drama. The basic premise. A bunch of strangers find themselves trapped somewhere super remote, kind of surreal, and the interesting bit, nature itself is, well, it's both a sanctuary sometimes and also this huge threat. It's like another character, really. Visually, people mention the eerie look, kind of dreamlike, but it's the story depth that hooks you, I think. Complex characters, lots of symbolism people are digging into. So our mission today is basically to peel back those layers, understand what made it resonate so much, especially for you watching at home.
Okay, let's get into it then. What exactly pushed Untamed from just being released to being this massive global trend? It's just like more than one thing happened at once. Is there a secret sauce?
It really seems to be a mix, yeah,
Yeah.
kind of perfect storm. One of the biggest things, looking at the material, is the huge viral social media wave. And not just general buzz, I mean specific stuff. Loads of TikTok edits, those fan compilations, and fan theories spreading like wildfire. What really stands out, and it's mentioned a lot, is the reaction to episode 4's ending, that twist.
Oh yeah, that twist. People lost their mind.
Exactly. It wasn't just any twist. It was unsettling, changed everything, and it just ignited this immediate, massive burst of online discussion. People weren't just watching. They jumped straight onto TikTok, Twitter, everywhere, trying to figure it out, sharing theories. It created this amazing feedback loop.
Right. It turned viewers into like active participants instantly.
Yeah.
Collective detective work.
Precisely. It tapped into that desire to solve something together.
So it's not just that it went viral, but how? Triggered by something specific in the show itself, this huge shared what just happened moment. Does that kind of intense reaction last, though? Or does it fizzle?
That's a really good point. The initial spike might be tied to one event, yeah, like that twist, but the sustained buzz often comes from something else, which leads to the next point from the sources, the comparisons. Untamed doesn't exist on its own, right? People immediately started comparing it to other big shows. Think Yellow Jackets, Dark, even Lost.
Ah, okay, so drawing parallels to things people already love.
Exactly. And these aren't just passing mentions. They fuel these really deep, long debates on places like Reddit and Twitter. People are hunting for hidden clues, talking about the philosophy behind it, comparing how the stories are built.
So it's like tapping into existing fan energy, giving those puzzle-solving communities a new playground.
That's a great way to put it. It keeps the conversation going, moving it from just shock value to, like, actual analysis, a global puzzle box.
Clever. But we also have to talk about the platform, right? Netflix. How much is just down to their reach, their algorithm pushing it out there?
Oh, it's definitely a major factor. The sources really emphasize Netflix's role here. Their algorithm was key in getting Untamed in front of a global audience fast. We saw huge viewership spikes, not just in the US and UK, but places like Brazil, Korea, too. Really diverse markets.
Wow. Okay. So it hit a nerve internationally.
Yeah, which shows it has that cross-cultural appeal.
Yeah.
The algorithm spots that early potential based on viewing patterns and then pushes it hard. It's a massive advantage in turning a hit into a genuine global thing.
So it's the platform's power combined with the show's broad appeal. Makes sense. I also heard something about the music, the soundtrack being part of the trend. How does that work?
Yeah, that's another interesting layer and something that popped up in the material. The soundtrack, which uses a lot of indie and ambient artists, maybe less well-known ones, started trending on its own, on Spotify, for instance.
Really, music itself.
Yeah. And a good soundtrack does more than just set the mood, right? It becomes its own thing people can share, put in playlists, use in their own fan videos, so people might even discover the show through the music. It just widens the net, creates another way for people to connect with Untamed beyond just watching it.
Okay, so putting it all together from what you've described,
Yeah.
it sounds like it's not just the show itself. It's how we engage with it online, how it triggers our curiosity, makes us want to play detective, how it connects to other shows we love, and even how its music travels separately. So What does this tell us about how stories blow up today? It feels like the audience's role is massive now.
Absolutely. What's really clear from the sources is that the audience isn't passive anymore. Not at all. They're active participants in making something trend, from making those TikToks that grab new people's attention to debating theories on Reddit to sharing the soundtrack. The audience is co-creating the phenomenon. It's less about just pure viewing figures now and much more about the conversation it sparks, how deep and wide that conversation goes.
Right. The buzz itself becomes part of the experience.
Exactly. It's a collaborative thing now. The story lives way beyond the screen because of that engagement.
Okay, this is where I think it gets really interesting, maybe deeper. Beyond the hype, Untamed seems to be touching something. Resonant? What are the core ideas people are connecting with? Why does this show feel important or culturally relevant right now? It seems like more than just a good thriller.
You're spot on. This is where it moves beyond just entertainment, and the materials reflect this. A lot of viewers see Untamed as an allegory.
An allegory for what specifically?
Well, people are mapping onto it some really big current anxieties. Themes like mental health struggles, impact of isolation, fear of the unknown. Also, environmental collapse comes up a lot, and just fundamental questions about identity, who we are under pressure. The show's kind of weird, surreal setting lets people explore these heavy topics indirectly. It's a space to project onto.
So it provides a kind of fictional framework to process real-world worries.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. People can engage with those big ideas without it being too direct or preachy.
Precisely. It invites you to think about how those issues play out in this strange, intense environment the characters are in.
Is there a risk there, though? Relying on allegory. Could it maybe put off viewers who just want a straightforward mystery?
It's always a balancing act, for sure. But the critical reaction suggests Untamed mostly nailed it. Your sources point to a lot of praise, especially for the bold storytelling. It doesn't always take the easy route. And something else highlighted consistently, the performances, especially the lead actors. There's been a huge buzz around Layla Santos, the newcomer.
Right. Yeah, I've seen her name everywhere.
Right. People are loving her performance. Critics, too. It shows how one breakout role, someone really capturing that complex emotion, can just elevate the whole thing and pull even more people in, even if the deeper themes aren't everyone's main focus.
It's incredible when that happens, isn't it? A single performance becomes a talking point in itself.
Definitely adds to that organic buzz. And one last big piece, crucial for why it's still being talked about, is ambiguity.
Ah, the ending. Or lack of a clear one.
Exactly. The ending is famously open. It leaves major questions hanging. But instead of frustrating people, it seems to have fueled more conversation. Thousands of posts speculating about season 2, debating what it all meant. That lack of neat resolution keeps people engaged long after they finish watching. They want to figure it out, talk about it.
So the ambiguity is actually a feature, not a bug.
Oh.
It keeps the mystery alive in the audience's mind.
Pretty much. It turns the ending into a starting point for ongoing discussion.
Which brings up a fascinating point. What does it say about us as viewers that we're increasingly drawn to these kinds of stories? The ones that don't wrap everything up, that make us work for the meaning, or even debate it endlessly.
It's interesting, isn't it? I think it says we maybe crave a different kind of engagement now. In a world where answers are often instant, there's something appealing about a story that asks us questions. It makes watching more active. It becomes something you mull over, discuss with friends, argue about online. It feels richer somehow.
Like we value the process of figuring things out together.
Yeah, perhaps. It taps into that collective puzzle solving again. And maybe it reflects our own lives, Things aren't always neat and resolved. Stories that acknowledge that ambiguity might feel more true, in a way. It shows that knowledge or understanding comes from wrestling with things, discussing them.
So, Untamed. Clearly, more than just the flavor of the month. It's reflecting our anxieties, playing masterfully with modern media and audience engagement. It's really got it all working together. The viral moments, the deep themes, that ambiguous ending keeping us guessing. Lots to think about there for sure. As you reflect on our chat, maybe consider which part of its success resonates most with you or surprised you the most. Next up on Trending Unpacked, the mystery of Amy Bradley. A real-life disappearance that's once again capturing the internet's attention. You won't want to miss it.